he's going to be in bad shape. We've seen Matt Franklin come back too many times.
For the championship of the world.
One strong right.
This is Muhammad Ali. And down he goes into the rope. Frazier staggered again.
Starring a real war.
Leonard caught him with a good chopping right.
I must be the greatest. I am the king of the world.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Miracle Matthew was often hurt, but never stopped on his way to becoming a champion. I'm Ray Leonard, and welcome to another edition of Sugar Ray's Hit Parade. Matt Franklin had a great ability to absorb punishment and come back strong. He survived an early pounding from Marvin Johnson and knocked him out to capture the North American title. Franklin was set to face tough Yaqui Lopez in his third title defense. He still had much to learn, and Lopez was set to give him the lesson. Lopez had already fought 51 fights, including a 15-round loss for the World Light Heavyweight Championship. Lopez was effective at ducking and picking off punches, so Franklin had to be very careful. In his usual routine, Matt would start off slowly and pick up momentum as the fight went on. But the counter-punching Lopez would be ready for any opening. Up next, Matt Franklin's boxing education continues in Philadelphia, October 1978.
Earlier this year, Mike Rossman fought Yaqui Lopez, and Lopez came away with the victory. And here's some of that action from the fight at Madison Square Garden.
Rossman has to hold on. He looks up at the clock to see how much time is left. 45 seconds in the round. Rossman is staggering a little bit. Trying to hold on. His knees are gone.
I think that body blow did him damage.
Rossman is really hurt.
There he goes. There he goes.
He's wobbling.
There he goes. There he goes.
They're going to stop it. No. The referee started to stop it, and then he stopped. He's going to stop it, I think. Why is he breaking them? He's breaking them, and they're not even clinching, Cuz. I'm trying to figure out what the referee is doing. He's giving him a standing 8 count.
And that was Alvaro Yaqui Lopez knocking out Mike Rossman in the 7th round back on March 2nd at the Garden.
When I say break, fellas, break. Protect yourselves at all times on the break. In the event of a knockdown, the ones standing go to the furthest neutral corner until I call them back. Is that understood? You understand that? Okay, both of you shake hands, come out boxing. God bless you both.
Frank Capsino, the referee, and we will have one whale of a North American Boxing Federation light heavyweight champion, Matt Franklin, who is one of the outstanding light heavyweights in the world, against Yaqui Lopez, who 3 times fought for the world title. Unfortunately, all 3 times came up short. Jack, keys to this fight here in the early going. What are the keys?
I think one of the keys that not too many people in this audience are understanding at this point, Huey, may not learn until afterwards, is that this afternoon, Matt Franklin had to shed a little bit more than 3 pounds in order to make the light heavyweight limit. And since this is an official North American light heavyweight championship fight, he had to make that weight. It wasn't a give or take a pound situation. So we'll have to see, you know, to lose that kind of weight when you're so finely trained as he obviously is, just the afternoon of the fight, it might have taken something out of it.
Yaqui Lopez in blue trunks. And boy, he's fought a lot of world-class people. One thing Franklin can do, he's got a ton of firepower, but he's also noted for being hit with quite a few shots, but has the ability to get off the deck and keeps throwing out that quick lightning-like left jab, Jack.
Yes, he's popping out with that jab, but for all that they kid about how bad a fighter is, Lopez is in terms of form, he knows how to keep from getting hit. I mean, meaning to say that maybe 1 out of 7 or 8 of those jabs actually connected with flesh, let alone sting.
This is Lopez's 51st professional fight. He's won 43, lost only 7, and won 28 by knockout. And he has fought some tough cookies.
There's a good right hand uppercut that If Lopez is going to continue to keep his head down when he comes in like that, that's what Matt Franklin has to do.
Matt had intimated, too, that he's going to a new shot called a loop-a-doop.
You better forget about all that fancy dance stuff and just concentrate on orthodox fighting against a pro like this. I think you'll find, Huey, too, that Lopez is the type of fighter who's most effective when he gets hurt. A little bit. You know, he responds to pain.
Right.
And there are such people. We saw that in the fight tonight with Villanueva earlier.
Franklin scored with the uppercut, but the other punches were a bit wide.
It seems to be a fact-finding round for Yaqui Lopez. He's not really doing anything to score himself. He seems to be looking to see what mannerisms he can pick up on in the delivery and the style of Matt Franklin.
Well, Matt had that left jab going for him rather effectively, keeping away Yaqui Lopez. We've gone through three. I think just on initiative alone, I've got the score that 5-4, Jack, for
no question
Matt
about
Franklin.
it.
Round two of the scheduled round North American Boxing Federation Light Heavyweight Championship bout, set for 12 rounds.
Lopez is looking very carefully to see if he can pick up on anything, and so far Franklin hasn't shown him anything. I see Lopez is waiting to see if he drops that left hand after the jab, but Franklin has been carefully bringing it right back to the cock position.
Matt Franklin out of South Philadelphia, 21 wins, only 3 losses and 2 draws. 14 of his 21 victories, or 2 out of 3, coming via knockout.
You have to remember, Huey, when you look at Yaqui Lopez, that Mike Rossman owes him a little bit of that light heavyweight championship, because Yaqui Lopez gave the former champion Victor Galindez 2 very tough fights, and they had to take something out of Galindez.
Went 15 rounds one time, and very, very close decision. Matt Franklin is on a tear. He's won his last 6 by knockout. Started back with Ed Turner on June 23rd of last year. On July 26th of '77, won the NABF light heavy title from, was vacant at the time, but he defeated Marvin Johnson. A superb comeback. The Spectrum Fighter of the Year last year, 24-year-old Matt Franklin.
Huey, a little bit earlier you asked for keys. We mentioned the weight problem this afternoon with Franklin. The biggest key to look for in Yaqui Lopez is his tendency to cut.
Franklin keeping his hands high, getting that left jab in. That allows him to set up either right cross, right hook, whatever he wants to do. Took that one off with his left.
I think one thing that might be disappointing Yaqui Lopez's corner so far is that left hook was only a glancer. They had expected Franklin to be the type of fighter who comes to you, and I think they might be a little bit puzzled so far. He's fighting a good, cool boxer-puncher type of fight. There was an attempt at following the left jab with a long right hand, and it was only a few inches away from connecting on the part of Franklin. Good short right hand, it appeared, over the top.
Well, I like Franklin again in that round, Jack.
You're right, Hugh.
Oh, we are agreeing on twice in a row. Jack, let's talk about ability to go the route. If you've won your last 6 bouts via the KO, 8 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, 6 rounds, and then to win the title of Marvin Johnson, while the last 2 bouts for Lopez have gone 15 rounds.
I think, again, not to belabor it, Hugh, but a very critical factor here is the weight that Matt Franklin had to lose this afternoon. As you point out very astutely, he has not had to go the distance of late. But more importantly, if that does weigh on his mind psychologically, he doesn't know when he's going to start to feel the bear grab him tonight, because he's never been in this situation before where he had to lose 3, maybe a little bit more than 3 pounds and just a few hours before the fight.
No, that same situation also was believed to have aided Mike Rossman against Melendez down at the Superdome.
I think it aided the last 3 or 4 of Melendez's opponents.
Into round 3, and Matt Franklin staying away, and then yet able to get that left jab into Yaqui Lopez out of Stockton, California, who is the current U.S. light heavyweight title holder.
Lopez is going to have to start to assert himself pretty soon now.
Matt Franklin wide with that hook.
Oh, there was a roundhouse right that just missed by Lopez. They respect each other, you can see that.
No question about that.
Good reflexes there and getting the right hand up to block against that hook by Lopez.
Like Matt starts the counter and then pulls back, wary of the guns that Yaqui Lopez can throw.
Lopez looks like a man who's looking for his shot. He's looking for a counter shot there. He's certainly not trying to set up anything up. Beaten to the jab there by Matt Franklin.
Lopez did get in the left, didn't cause any damage as Matt Franklin is getting all the good shots.
Now
in.
Matt Franklin tripled up on a hook after he knew it was blocked, and that's where he's making a mistake. He did it twice, incidentally, and I mean, Lopez will pick up on something like that.
Got under Lopez then.
I think he might have
solid right, Jack.
I think he might have hurt him with that right hand coming down.
Lopez certainly isn't countering at all, Jack.
No.
It's hard to see if he's...
Oh, there it is. He got hit with a right hand and has him doing funny things standing up. He should have gone down there, Huey.
Wow. I thought he pulled a groin muscle, Jack.
No, so
right.
He was hurt.
30 seconds to go in round 3, and Yaqui Lopez is in heavy trouble. Franklin trying to set up Lopez. Lopez trying to rotate around the ring and stay away. Covering up very effectively, at least at the moment, is Yaqui Lopez. Just 12 seconds to go. Remember, you cannot be saved by the bell in Pennsylvania. If you go down, the count goes right
He'll make
through
it,
the bell.
Huey. He'll make it. He's out of it now.
Whoa.
Matt Franklin was more of a brawler with the power of a heavyweight. A right hand and left hook had hurt Yaqui Lopez, and Franklin appears to be breaking an old pattern of his and coming to life early. Let's see if he continues to take the fight to Lopez.
Round 4, and Matt Franklin can smell the kill here in round 4, but fighting a veteran fighter like Yaqui Lopez is going to be a tough chore for Matt Franklin out of South Philadelphia. Looking for his 15th knockout in his 22nd pro victory. Uppercut by Matt Franklin there, and Lopez counters. One thing Franklin has to watch out for, the fact that he may be punching himself out early.
Huey, I have Jimmy DiPiano here, who has a good right hand back answering over the top by Lopez. As they say, he's a fighter who gets more dangerous when he's hurt. I'm going to ask Jimmy DiPiano because he's been on the other end of this, and he knows. Jimmy DiPiano, the father and manager of Mike Rossman, Do you think it's a little early to count Yaqui Lopez is in serious trouble?
Yeah, it's a little too early yet because when he gets hurt, he comes on more. And Matt Franklin had him, runs around, puts his hands up in the air instead of go after the fighter. I don't understand him. He could maybe score a knockout right there in that round, maybe.
Midway through round 4, Matt Franklin and Yaqui Lopez. Lopez coming to life here in this 4th round after being in heavy trouble in round 3.
That was Jimmy Del Piano, the father and manager of the light heavyweight champion Mike Rossman, who can't understand why there wasn't more of an effort there by Matt Franklin to finish it off when he had him.
Now it's me, fellas. Now it's me.
Referee Frank Capsino separates both light heavyweights. Oh, couple of snapping lefts by Yaqui Lopez. Franklin gets left shoulder up. Oh, walked into a hook that time.
Good left hook there. Good short left hook. A good right hand back over the top by Lopez.
Lopez now going for what he hopes will be a knockdown of Matt Franklin.
Oh, good left hook and right hand.
Right above our prison microphone. 30 seconds to go in the 4th round. Boy, the tide has quickly changed in favor of Yaqui Lopez. Matt Franklin not one to back away. If he has a fault, that's it, sticking his head out.
Good left hook to the body by Lopez. Lopez had to get hurt before he got in this fight, Hugh.
Right. That's it. That's the end of round 4, and I'd have to say that's the first one, Jack, we could score for Yaqui Lopez.
Well, I'll tell you something, Hugh. I would score that one even, believe it or not, because I don't think Lopez dominated for enough of the round. I think it was even. How would you make it, Jimmy Del Piano?
Well, I got Franklin ahead, you know, but now Yaqui's
No, but we're
coming
talking
on.
about that last round. I had it even.
Well, I thought that Yaqui had the edge here.
Okay, if you can look at the screen here.
Yeah, Yaqui's doing a lot more punching now. Like I said, when he gets hurt, he fights harder.
How do you rate him as a puncher?
Well, he hasn't knocked too many,
He's a good left hook.
good fighters out, but he's a fair puncher. He can knock you out.
Would you say that he has single shot power?
No, he's got to hit you with 2 or 3 punches, but he does put them together.
How about his chin? How does he take it? We saw
Takes a
him
pretty
take a
good
terrific
punch.
shot and knock it
punch.
down.
Good punch. That's why I didn't understand why Franklin raised his hands up in the air like an amateur and they didn't finish him off.
That's true. Jimmy DiPiano made a good point there that when Yaqui Lopez was doing his funny little dance after obviously being hurt, Matt Franklin was prematurely raising his hands in the air in a victory signal.
Well,
Now he knows that this fight's going to last a little bit longer tonight.
Well, he knows he's in for a good night's work. Matt Franklin and Yaqui Lopez. Fans love those snapping left jabs. Beauty part about the jabs sets up the right hook or right cross.
Jimmy Del Piano was just saying that now Franklin's forcing him. He's pressing him, and that's what he has to do. He's putting it together properly in this round.
Yeah, he started off, Jack, with a good jab to keep off Lopez. Even if he's not scoring, he's keeping Lopez off balance. A lot of noise, a lot of movement, but not much punch to those shots, Jack.
Well, he was doubling up on left hooks against the other man's right glove. As we heard Jimmy Del Piano say, Yaqui Lopez, in his opinion, doesn't have single shot power. We know Matt Franklin does. Getting off first. That's the important thing. He's getting off first.
Just keeping Lopez bottled up and not able to do anything. Defend. Lopez now has to go into the shell.
He got out of there wisely. Looked like a good hook, but Franklin's back was blocking the. There are two good hooks. Going to the body.
30 seconds to go in round 5.
It's a fight.
Boy, it is one whale of a fight. Franklin going with the left jab, attempting to set up a right cross or right hook over the top, but walked into an uppercut to the midsection. That's it. We are now into round 6 of the scheduled 12-round North American Boxing Federation Light Heavyweight Championship. And in case you joined us, it has been Matt Franklin, with the exception of 1 or 2 rounds, with winning and in the lead. 2 world-class light heavyweight fighters.
12 rounds to go. I mean, over the distance, it's a 12-round fight, and that is something to bear in mind when you remember that Lopez did give up a couple of early rounds just by lack of enterprise.
And the thing about it is that Matt Franklin has only gone 12 rounds once in his pro career, and just the last 2 fights for Yaqui Lopez went the distance, winning 15 rounds from Jesse Burnett and losing to Victor Galindez for the WBA light heavyweight title, which he eventually lost, he being Victor Galindez, to Mike Rossman, who is seated just to our left. Matt Franklin picked off the left with his glove, but then took the right hook.
The right hand, yeah. He's calling Lopez back in. He wants to try that again, he's saying.
Well, from what we've seen, the advantage obviously would be to Matt Franklin.
Lopez took a chance throwing that overhand right. We've seen the unorthodox, unsettled Matt Franklin in the past, Huey.
Matt got the good jab in, but he can't put together a combination, Jack. A real solid combination.
Well, he's in there against a dangerous counterpuncher, and I think that he's wise to contain himself. Jimmy Del Piano over there is calling for Yaqui Lopez to go to the body. Meanwhile, Matt Franklin is calling for Yaqui Lopez to come on in. Let's mix it.
Franklin does go to the body. Lopez shows his years of experience and gets in with that left hook, Jack.
He does. He just missed with one that time in a counter shot off of a body blow by Matt Franklin.
Just 10 seconds to go here in round 6.
I'm going to go back to Jimmy Del Piano after this round, Huey, and talk a little bit about that fight that his son Mike Rossman lost to Yaqui Lopez.
Okay, Jackie.
Okay, we'll turn back to the father and manager of the new light heavyweight champion, Mike Rossman. I'm speaking, of course, of Jimmy Del Piano, trainer, manager, and father of the new champion. And as I mentioned earlier, Jimmy, a lot of people are still talking about the fact that this Yaqui Lopez in the near corner defeated your son while your son was on his way to his upset defeat over Galindez. As a matter of fact, maybe without having been defeated by Yaqui Lopez, you might not have had the shot at Galindez. Is there anything to that?
Listen, there's no excuse. Michael ran out of gas, and that was it. When you run out of gas, nobody can help you. And knowing that he got beat by Yaqui made him a better fighter. This is why he went on to win the title.
Okay, let's take a look here at, there's Lopez with a good stiff right hand following a left. How did that look to you?
Good. Yaqui's coming on now, and Matt Franklin's standing flat-footed now.
Okay.
You know?
We'll be back with you, Jimmy, after this round.
Well, we're into the 7th round. The expertise of the trainer and father of the reigning light heavyweight champion, WBA version anyway. That stands for World Boxing Association. One thing to keep in mind, as Jack McKinney has reiterated several times, Matt Franklin, whether or not he can go 12 against the likes of world caliber light heavyweight Yaqui Lopez, might force him to back off a couple of rounds and coast as much as he possibly can, Jack?
It's an outside possibility, Huey. I think if you'd see him coast, it would only be because he would be running into petrol problems. It's not the nature of this fighter to coast when he doesn't have to coast, and I think that the thing to watch again is how the tank registers getting into the late rounds as a result of that weight loss this afternoon.
Okay, let's talk about things that bother fighters. One thing, Lopez has a reputation as a guy who cuts, and his face on the left-hand side is starting to show some mileage, Jack.
It's, I think it's actually, it looks to me that it's at this point superficial, Hugh. I don't see anything more than what we would call brush burns or glove burns, which will bring blood if they're, oh no, now we're getting a cut here. He just opened a cut on his left brow with that right hand.
And those rights are scoring. Boy, plenty of blood cascading down the eye of Yaqui Lopez. Only moments before we talked about it, we noticed it, and now Yaqui Lopez has to watch out, because if he loses vision in his left eye and just blinked in, boy, this could be a quick round for Yaqui Lopez.
He's a bleeder, Huey, but the cut doesn't appear to be a bad cut. Although it could grow into a worse cut.
Well, just then Franklin backed off, Jack, and didn't throw any at all. Lopez, those shots aren't scoring whatsoever.
I think Lopez has got to pull the string on something and do something to show that he can equalize this fight with 1 or 2 punches.
I don't know whether Franklin looks arm-weary to you or not, but seems to have a whale of a lot of sting with just 3 seconds to go here in round 7. That's it.
Well, Jimmy Del Piano has been saying that for the last 2 rounds. And let's turn back to him now. Jimmy Del Piano, the manager of Mike Rossman. My colleague Huey Gannon was just saying that Matt Franklin, while winning that round, looked a little bit arm-weary. And I pointed out that you've been saying that for the last couple of rounds.
Now, the only reason I see Matt Franklin's corner telling them to go to the body, why should he go to the body when the man's cut? He should go to keep where he's put the pressure on where it's supposed to be put on, is the eye.
Headed early into round 8. One whale of a fight so far between Yaqui Lopez and Matt Franklin for the North American Boxing Federation Light Heavyweight Championship.
That eye opened up right again, Hugh. Talking with Jimmy Del Piano, I didn't get a chance to see what they were using on it, but again, as I say, that doesn't look like a bad cut. It's a bleeding cut because the man's a bleeder, but it doesn't look like a bad cut.
Well, there were about 6 combinations in a row by Matt Franklin. And boy, Jack, he is whipping in that right hand. Oh,
he just took a right hand.
Oh, did he take a good shot from Yaqui Lopez? Matt Franklin is in bad shape against the ropes.
And if Yaqui Lopez doesn't economize, he's going to be in bad shape.
Franklin is rolling off the ropes.
Yaqui Lopez has to pick his shots, Hugh. He could throw the wad in this round, and we've seen Matt Franklin come back too many times.
That's why Frank Capsino has not done anything yet. Matt is really trying to weather the storm, and Yaqui Lopez has thrown everything.
And the one shot he should be using, he's not, and that's the right uppercut. He's not using it.
Matt Franklin rolling against the ropes. Jack, I think he's weathered it. Where do you see him force out?
If he has,
look at him laugh!
Yaqui Lopez is in trouble if he has.
What a round for Matt Franklin as Yaqui Lopez hit him with everything except the Phillies bat rack. And back comes Matt Franklin. He's got Yaqui Lopez in heavy trouble right in front of us, Jack.
What a round.
Boy, the joint is on its feet as Matt Franklin.
And that cut opened up a little bit more with that exchange.
Only he can do it, now conserving the energy.
Lopez just threw the wad too much.
I've seen Matt Franklin too many times to think he was going to go down, Jack, because his knees did not buckle. Weathered the storm, and as soon as I saw him push off with the left, saw him get back into the act. 30 seconds to go in round 8. And
you have to remember,
round.
You don't win a round in 20 seconds either, and Lopez comes back again. Lopez did all of the work in this round and maybe did too much of it for his own good.
Positively, Jack, you stayed right with it. Now Matt Franklin wants to finish off with a flurry. Going to that loop-a-doop.
Good hook to the body by Lopez, even though he was hurt by a right hand.
Just 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, that's it. What a round. Take a look at this.
Good right hand shot and get him in trouble. Did he throw too much at one sustained point there?
Yeah, he should have threw some uppercuts. He kept banging to the body.
Here we go. Here comes some of the action. Let's call it here. This might be, is this late round?
Right,
there's the right
he hurt
hand.
him there.
There's the right hand.
He hurt him there, and he just kept coming in and worked the body. Should have been bringing some in between the gloves.
In other words, what he's not doing is using the right uppercut.
Right, he should have used the right uppercut in both corners.
Okay, how much is this round going to take out of each fighter?
Took a lot, but I think Yaqui may be a little stronger.
Okay, back to Huey Gannon.
We are ready for round 9 of a titillating light heavyweight championship bout. Matt Franklin in red against Yaqui Lopez. Well, we knew this was going to be a good one, but had no idea it would be this super good.
Oh, that was one of the rounds of the century. Talk about your fights of the century.
Well, that's just the same way, Jack, that Matt Franklin fought Marvin Johnson for the then vacant North American Boxing Federation Championship. Got off the deck late. In fact, I had Johnson winning maybe the first 9 rounds.
Let's not forget that great round with Richie Cates.
Yeah. I think he got off in the 5th round, off the canvas to win in the 6th. Yeah. Remember again that Matt Franklin had to lose a couple of pounds today to make the 175 limit. That may have its effect.
One thing that Yaqui Lopez's people have said from the get-go is that he is not a picture fighter. He doesn't have all the tools. He doesn't have all the punches. He showed that. A few well-directed right uppercuts could have made a big difference in that round while he had the edge, while he was dominating, in fact, Matt Franklin. But he didn't seem to be able to throw them in. Instead, he was bringing them in wide and losing steam from the punches. And a lot of them, of course, were landing on the gloves.
That was an off-balance hook by Lopez that slowed down Matt Franklin. Matt has been most effective by throwing out that left jab and then trying the combination. Got the right in that time, but did not cause any damage to the face of Yaqui Lopez. Coming up on the 2-minute mark of round 9. Referee Frank Capsino.
Good short hook that he turned off the jab there by Franklin. That's an art in itself.
Yeah,
come out with that jab and turn it into a hook at the last split second.
And look where Matt Franklin holds his hands. If he continues to hold them high, he's in good shape. Yaqui Lopez, Jack, his right eye.
He's in serious trouble with the right eye.
He is in a bad way, Jack, with that eye almost completely closed, and Franklin is going with hook and jab. Wow, Jack, it is completely closed. Lopez cannot see with his right eye.
I think the only thing that's going to pull that out to enable him to go further, if they cut that eye in the corner, and our commission might be watching very closely to see that they don't do a thing like that.
Well, we're almost through this 9th round. But Yaqui Lopez has absolutely no vision for sure, Jack, in that right eye. And here it comes. It's closed, Jack.
What a break, and he is mad about it, too.
Yep.
He is stomping and shaking his head. He's very angry, Huey. Let's ask Jimmy Del Piano if he thinks that that's the difference now. Jimmy, do you think that the injury to the right eye is it for Yaqui Lopez?
Well, it all depends what the doctor says. You know, I've seen fighters in worse shape than him fight and win.
Well, he's got no...
But, you know, a good 10-round fighter, you know, like he's been with the champs and all, and he could fight yet.
All right, they're just applying ice. Is there anything more that they can do legally in the corner?
No.
In other words, the old days of cutting the swelling open, putting a hot silver dollar on it, all of that business,
that's gone, Dave.
A sharpened half dollar, that
right.
You can't use that stuff anymore, right?
I think he just told the referee.
That eye's hopelessly closed.
Well, this round he'll tell. If he gets hurt a little more in that eye, the doctor will stop it.
You expect to see him come out bombing?
He should. If he don't, he's crazy.
And that he should do, Jack, to end it, because Yaqui Lopez cannot see at all. And referee Frank Capsino has been told by the Pennsylvania Athletic Association Commission, doctor, look out for that right eye.
Now you're going to see the only thing Lopez can do, he's got to keep tracking to his right. He's got to clock out to his right. That's the only way he can hope to neutralize, and maybe he might be able to slip in a couple of left hooks there when he's doing it. He's got to stay outside the range of that left hand, and that's going to be tough to do, Huey. But the only way he can see that left hand of Matt Franklin is to stay outside of it and see it with his good eye.
Franklin just came underneath with a good hook, and as you see his corner telling him to go to the right or circle left, right, Jack?
Yeah, he's got to, well, yes, he's got to take away the maneuver that he's getting from, now Lopez is stopping. Lopez is moving the wrong way. One thing that Jimmy Del Piano said he expected to see Lopez do was to come out going for broke. And you can't wait till the end of the round or the middle of the round to do it, because that referee has the license to stop it early. We saw the doctor give it to him.
Matt Franklin wants to end it right now. Oh, a snapping right in, goes left. Not much vision left for Yaqui Lopez.
Unorthodox as it is, Huey, he should be going right hand crazy, because that's the only thing that's going to tie up that left hand of Matt Franklin. Instead he's using the left.
Oh, Franklin is flat-footed, Jack. Not much movement whatsoever.
He's looking for his shot now. He's looking to punch. He's not looking to pop.
Jab with that left. It's been most effective. That led to the closing of the right eye of Yaqui Lopez. Now he's trying to throw wild hooks. It's all right if you score occasionally.
Well, he knows that Yaqui can't tell whether they're wild or not until after they don't land. It's a tough way to have to fight with one eye, especially against a fighter with a left hand like he's already been hurt worst in this fight by that left hand. Matt Franklin is just taking what he can get.
And he is just trying to unload a couple of lefts to set up that right. There's a couple of shots. They're bell ringers. 20 seconds to go in round 10. Matt Franklin setting up that right.
That eye is closed even more than it was at the end of the last round, Hugh. We'll have to watch the activity in the corner by the commission, not more than his own corner workers.
That's the end of round 10.
This.
Get off the stall.
Round 11.
Okay, Jimmy Del Piano seems to think that Matt Franklin's a little bit tired, having difficulty getting off the stool.
Well, Matt has to go through 6 more rounds and being exhorted by his corner to rotate to the right eye or to his own left of Yaqui Lopez.
Huey, I think you might have thought it was a 15-rounder. It's 2 more rounds.
Yeah, that's why I said 6 more minutes.
Oh, excuse me.
Right. Matt Franklin came up with that left hook and smiled at his effort. Lopez does not have a lot of vision in either eye, but maybe Franklin is a tired fighter.
Well, this is what we were talking about earlier, Huey. Now, look for those little bumps. Can you see the little goose bumps on the back of Matt Franklin? You won't be able to see it until he turns around again, but that's an early sign of heat exhaustion. Those little goose bumps, when you actually go back there feeling so hot that you shiver.
Boy, he went to a change that time, Jack. Looked like he was going to throw a hook. Came underneath. Well, we've got Matt Franklin on top enough just to weather the storm here without going down, and he's retained his North American
He definitely is at the point now where he can only, I believe, lose his championship on a knockout.
Jabbing with that left. Matt trying to sneak it in, coming uppercut there. Minute to go in round 11.
Well, Huey, they say Harry Greb went through his whole career with being blind in one eye, but that's how he learned to fight. Yaqui Lopez is used to fighting with two eyes.
You may have saw Matt Franklin lean back and take a good gasp. Yaqui Lopez still coming. Franklin walked into a shot.
How much left in Franklin's punches, Huey?
Obviously, we know not a whale of a lot left in the punches of Yaqui Lopez. 20 seconds to go in round 11. Franklin coming up and then trying to set up some kind of combination.
These people think that Lopez is staggering, but he's actually just trying to get outside the left hand. He's trying to move to his right. He knows what he's doing. Now it looks like referee Capsino stopped it.
The fight has been stopped after the bell, and Matthew Franklin has indeed retained his North American Boxing Federation Light Heavyweight Championship.
Cappuccino stops the fight. 2 minutes, 59 seconds in the 11th round, and still the winner of the North American Boxing Federation, Matthew Franklin.
It's difficult enough to fight Matt Franklin with two eyes, but Yaqui Lopez could barely see out of one. Franklin now got his shot at the WBC crown worn by his old foe, Marvin Johnson. He knocked Johnson out again and claimed the world championship. He converted to Islam, changed his name to Matthew Saad Muhammad, meaning good fortune. In Saad Muhammad's fourth title defense, he again faced tough Lopez. Saad Muhammad gave the boxing lesson this time, inflicting several cuts by the time the referee stopped the fight in the 14th round. Saad Muhammad's good fortune lasted only 4 more fights before he faced Dwight Braxton, who took his title away from him.